Dinuki, can you see? Not yet. No. Huh?
Miss, I forgot to update the Zoom app.
Ah, right. It's okay. It's okay. මම කොයි කරත් කියලා අනිත් බෝඩ් එකක් තියාගෙන ඉන්නේ. We will. My God, what is? Let me silence my phone. කොහොද මනිතර whiteboard එක? I had it. I can't find where it is. 1 second. Okay, Lama, give me a minute. So, last day what we up to so we discussed first ionization energy and then we discussed electronegativity, no? So it තමයි අපි last week discuss කරේ. So today we might be able to finish the lesson hopefully, yeah? So අපි පුළුවන් තරම් ඉක්මනට කරමු. එතකොට we will be able to finish this lesson today itself, right? Okay, so let me share the whiteboard. So Onara disconnect velane. Right, okay. So put the topic metals, put the topic metals, non-metals and metalloids. Metals, non-metals and metalloids. Okay, now let me share the textbook, right? Because one second. Okay. So I will be sharing the textbook with you. This is your science book, page 65. Okay. So in this particular table, may I will අපේ periodic table එක නෙවෙයි ලොකු periodic table එක, right? So this is the big periodic table, like the complete periodic table. Okay. So අපේ ටික තියෙන මෙතන. We have hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium. Then there's a huge break. Then boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. Then sodium, magnesium, huge break. Aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon, potassium, calcium. Up to that point only we know. කො අනිත් අය කැමරා on කරගන්න. ඔනාරා, ලසස්, මයුම්දී, තෙනුලි, සෙනෙත්. Okay. So මෙන්න මේ periodic table එකේ what is shaded in blue? බලමු මොනවද දැන් මේ blue විදියට shade කරලා තියෙන්නේ. From what we know, we have lithium, beryllium, sodium, magnesium, aluminium. We also have potassium, calcium. So what is shaded in blue are metals, right? And then what is shaded in orange are non-metals. Okay. Orange වලිනුයි brown වලිනුයි දෙකෙන්ම shade කරලා තියෙන්නේ non-metals. Brown වලින් shade කරපු කටියට special name එකක් කියනවා noble gases, and green වලින් shade කරලා ඉන්න අයට අපි කියනවා metalloids කියලා, right? So I just wanted to give you an overall idea. Okay, so let's draw our periodic table. මම ටක් කරලා periodic table එක අඳින්නම්. Y'all don't draw anything, huh? What is this? Okay. Third group. fifth group, 7, then 8. So this is our periodic table, like this. Okay. So let me fill the periodic table. What are our elements? Hydrogen. දැන් මේ විදිහ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට periodic table එක කටපාඩම් වෙලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ ආ. Hydrogen, helium, lithium,
Berry.
beryllium is boron,
Carbon.
hydrogen. Yes, go on.
Oxygen.
Fluorine.
Fluorine. Neon.
Okay.
Sodium.
Mm.
Magnesium.
Yes.
Aluminium.
Yes.
Silicon.
Mm.
Silicon. Phosphorus.
Yes.
um,
Sulfur.
Chlorine.
Chlorine.
Argon.
Argon.
Argon. Potassium. No, we
Yes.
wrote
Potassium. It's potassium, correct. මෙතන වල box එකක් miss වෙලා, it's calcium, no?
calcium.
All right. So this is our periodic table. Now in the periodic table අපි classify කරන්න හදන්නේ මොන කොටසද? Metals. What are metals? What are non-metals? And what are metalloids? Right? ඒව මොනවද කියලා මම කියන්නේ. Metals කියන්නේ මොනවද? Non-metals කියන්නේ metalloids කියන්නේ මොනවද? I will separately discuss. But first of all, we will identify these in the periodic table. Okay. So මෙන්න මෙතන පඩි පෙළක් වගේ, right? So we are going to form somewhat of a staircase. Staircase එක එන්නේ මෙන්න මෙතන, right? Boron and silicon, right? So boron is the first element and then silicon. So this is like a staircase, right? So boron and silicon, we have given a special name. They are called metalloids, right? මේ දෙගොල්ලන්ට අපි කියනවා, we call them metalloids. So in our periodic table, in the big periodic table, there are many metalloids, but in our periodic table, we are only talking about 20 elements. So from the 20 elements, as you can see, 2 elements are metalloids, right? Boron and silicon. Then whatever is left of the metalloids, මුලින්ම අපි identify කරගන්න ඕනේ අපේ staircase එක, metalloid staircase එක, right? Ashwita, can I know what you're doing? Don't do other work, huh? Then what is on the left side of metalloids? There are metals except for hydrogen. Left side එකේ ඉන්නේ මේ set එකනේ. මේ set එකෙන් hydrogen අරන්න අනිත් ඔක්කොම metalloids, right? So that means lithium, beryllium, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, potassium, calcium. So all of these are metals. So all of these are metals, right? So what is shaded in blue? So these are all metals. Then what is on the right side of the metalloids? We call them non-metals, right? On the right side of metalloids, we call them non-metals. That means carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Then we have phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, hydrogen, and also, yes, we have the noble gases, okay? Noble gases are also non-metals. On this side, we have hydrogen. So in a set we call them non-metals, right? So these are non-metals, right? Even helium, neon, and argon are non-metals. But helium, neon, argon තුන්දෙනාට specially අපි ඒ තුන්දෙනාට විතරක් අපි specially නමක් කියනවා. We call them noble gases. They are also non-metals, but only those three, we give them a special name, we call them noble gases. So this is how we categorize the elements in the periodic table, right? We have metals, we have non-metals, we have metalloids, and we have noble gases, right? So we are going to be talking about each and every type, right? Metals can monada, non-metals can monada, and metalloids can monada kera. So we'll start by metals, right? Api patanga metals wali. Now in grade 9 you have learned about metals. What do you know about metals? Monada metals wal thin features. What do you remember about metals? You have learned a bit about metals, no?
It has a shiny surface.
Yes. So metals have a shine, right? Metals have a shine. So we say they have a luster. Luster kiyane shine ekarama thamai. So we say they have a luster. Then what else?
Solid, like they are.
What else? So have you heard pansale gantarata gahuwa mara nikan ringing sound yak ken echo ekak wage? So all metals, they give that sound, right? We call that sound sonorous. We say sonorous. Sonorous means when you hit on it, I don't know why it's loud. I don't know if it's disturbing you all. Okay, anyways, when it comes to metals, when you hit a metal, like mokari yakada kayala khare aragena aa poddak ekada gahuwoth eme chuti ringing sound yak ena, like an echo, right? So that is what's called sonorous, right? And also another thing is metals are usually,
Solid.
yeah, they are solids at room temperature, except for one. Ekam ekkenek inna ya solid ekak newe ya liquid ekak. Mercury, that is mercury. Mercury is also a metal, but it is a liquid at room temperature, right? Otherwise all the other all the other metals are solids. Only mercury is a metal that is a liquid at room temperature, right? Then another thing is that metals are malleable and ductile. Then මේක ඔයගොල්ලන් grade 9 වල ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා. Malleable කියලා කියන්නේ, let's say you take a glass bottle or like something glass. ඔයා මේකට ගෙනලා මිටියකින් ගැහුවොත් this will break down, no? It will break into pieces. But ඔයා යකඩ කෑල්ලක් ගෙනල්ලා යකඩ කෑල්ලට මිටියකින් ගැහුවොත් hammer එකකින් ගැහුවොත් will it break into pieces? No, එයා තැලෙනවා. Right? ඔයාට පුළුවන් hammer එකකින් ගහලා මෙයාව හොඳට flat වෙන්නම ඔයාට hammer කරන්න පුළුවන්. A metal, any metal. But let's say glass or plastic or rigiform or wood, you can't do that, right? You can't do that. ගහපු ගමන් ඒක එක්ක කැඩෙනවා නැත්තම් මොකරි පැලෙනවා or something happens. But if you take a metal, when you hammer it, it will get hammered until it's a flat sheet. ඔයාට පුළුවන් hammer කරලා have a flat sheet එකක් කරන්න. That is the meaning of the word malleable. Malleable. Ductile කියලා කියන්නේ metals වලින් ඔයාට පුළුවන් wires හදන්න. So have you so what are the wires that you know? You know there are copper wires, right? ඔය ගොඩක් wires තියෙන copper වලින් හදපු wires. So copper is a metal which is not a metal that we learn in our periodic table, but it is a metal, right? So from metals we can form wires. That is why it's called ductile. Malleable කියන්නේ අපිට hammer කළ sheets හදන්න පුළුවන්. Ductile කියන්නේ metals වලින් අපිට wires හදන්න පුළුවන්. Then another thing is that metals are good conductors of electricity, right? They are good conductors of electricity. That means they can conduct electricity very well, heat and electricity both. What that means is, give me 1 second. So what this means is that let's say there's a piece of iron rod. This is an iron rod, right? ඔයා මේ පැත්ත රත් කරනවා, right? ඔයා මේ පැත්ත රත් කරනවා. රත් කරාම මොකද වෙන්නේ? මේ heat එක ටක් ගාලා අනිත් පැත්තට transfer වෙලා මේ පැත්තත් රත් වෙනවා, right? So when you touch the other side, it will quickly get heated up, right? So that means metals are a good conductor of heat. That means heat tagala transport වෙනවා metal එකක. Also, it's a good conductor of electricity. ඔයා මෙතනට electricity supply කරොත් wire එකක් connect කරලා හරි නැත්නම් මෙයාව ඔය what do you call plug socket එකකට insert කරලා හරි you can supply an electricity. So that electricity will also quickly move through the iron rod. ඔයා මේ පැත්ත ඇල්ලුවොත් එහෙම ඔයාට ටක් ගාලා electric shock එකක් වදිනවා. Okay. So therefore metals are good conductors of heat and electricity both, right? Then finally, metals have a high density, right? Usually they have a high density. What does this mean? මොකද්ද density කියන්නේ ළමයි? You all remember the equation for density? Cool. Grade 9 skip කළා දාවේ. What's the equation for density? Density
equals mass over volume.
Correct. Very good. Density equals mass over volume. Yes, I got the answer on the chat box as well. Both of you are correct. Density equals mass over volume. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකක් හරි volume එකක mass එක ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. Right? ඔයා you take, let's say you take a wood block, right? wooden block එකක් ගන්නවා like this. Right? So how do we calculate volume? Length into breadth into height, right? You all know that? No? Cube එක කොහොමද අපි volume calculate කරන්නේ? Length into breadth into height, right? Neither. So you take, this is wood, this is wood. So මෙයාගේ length එක 1 centimeters, මෙයාගේ breadth එක 1 centimeters and මෙයාගේ height එකත් 1 centimeters. So if you take the volume of wood, length into breadth into height. මම ගත්ත මේ wood block එක. So 1 into 1 into 1 is 1 centimeter into centimeter into centimeter is cubic centimeters, right? So මම අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ගන්නවා. This is iron, yakada, right? This is iron, yakada. Again, I'm going to take a block that is 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. So again, if I calculate the volume, 1 centimeter multiplied by 1 centimeter multiplied by 1 centimeter, that would be 1 cubic centimeters. So you can see both the wooden block and the iron block have the same volume, right? ඔයා මේ දෙනවා අතට ගත්තොත් එහෙම කාගේද ඔයාට mass එක වැඩියෙන් දැනෙන්නේ?
Iron.
Iron. Yes, in the chat box also I got yes, iron, right? ඒ කියන්නේ එකම volume එකක් තියෙද්දිත් mass එක වැඩි කාගේද? iron වල. So that means mass එක වැඩි කියන්නේ density එක automatically වැඩි, right? So because of that we can say metals have a high density. Generally metals have a high density, right? Now I showed you the big periodic table in your textbook, right? Where is it? The periodic table minna maker. Balanna, what is shown in blue are metals. Can you see majority of the elements in this the big periodic table, they are metals? Can you see that? ඔක්කොම overall there are about 115 elements. එතනින් 80ක් විතරම ඇවිල්ලා metals. So in the periodic table, majority of the elements are metals. බාන non-metals පොඩ්ඩයි තියෙන්නේ. Right? Metalloids උත් පොඩ්ඩයි තියෙන්නේ. But metals there's a lot. Right? So that is another thing that you need to know. Okay. We'll start drawing. You put the topic metals, non-metals and metalloids, right? Can you draw this periodic table and label these parts? ඔගලා මෙහෙම arrows දාන්න නැතුව මෙහෙම කරන්නත් පුළුවන් if you want to. පැත්තෙන් මෙහෙම patch එකක් දාලා මේක. Then like this, like this, and
So we have to color that part, right?
yeah, ඔගලන් color කරන්න නැතුව නිකම් මෙහෙම ඉරි වලින් shade කරත් කමක් නැහැ if you have different colored pens. නැත්නම් if you have
Please,
color pencils, it's okay.
can I get my color pencil and come?
Yeah, quickly go. Anything that doesn't take too much time, huh? So metals, මේ ඇවිල්ලා metalloids. මෙහෙම label කරන්නත් පුළුවන් without putting arrowheads. If you want, you can label like this. Whatever you prefer, but your note has to be organized and readable and neat. Now coloring ke liye you can't take too much time. I will only give you like 7 minutes. හරියටම 7 minutes දෙනා ඉක්මන කරන්න. Let me know when you're done. I'll give you about 2-3 more minutes, huh? Done, Lamai? Okay, we're not done, others?
Teacher.
Hmm?
No teacher.
No.
Thanks.
Pogala sharpen karna ne? Not like art, okay? Nikan tattaga shade karaga. Exactly 2 more minutes. Tenori done?
Yes, teacher.
Right, okay.
Done, teacher.
Okay, 1 more minute. Amattama liyanada?
Done teacher.
Hmm?
Done teacher.
Done, okay. Seneth? Chenuli?
Done, teacher.
Seneth, are you still writing? Okay, let's move on. Put the topic metals. Put the topic metals.
Teacher, could you show that small part, that color? 1 minute.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, teacher.
Right. So put the topic metals. Okay, points to Klian quickly write the draw this. So can I write these points? Just the features of the metals, nothing big. Make a henel mar loku at a stress when no nekak neve. These are just the properties of metals. Metiko na. Metiko mangande just for you, just to explain. You don't need to write these. Just write these points of metals quickly.
Done, teacher.
Okay, who else is done?
Done, teacher.
Right,
Done,
okay.
teacher.
Done, teacher.
Right. Mayum, this is writing? Okay.
Yes, miss.
Right, okay. I'll give you a few minutes, huh? Okay, so now you wrote these points, no metals wala. Then I missed one thing. මෙතන ඔයාලට උඩ ලියන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවද? Before this point, do you have space to write physical properties?
No, teacher.
චුටිට දාගන්නකො physical properties of metals. So these are all physical properties of metals. Now we are going to talk about physical properties of metals. Today we have a lot of writing. Metals and metals can tell you. We'll shorten it as much as possible. Okay. Then next part we are going to talk about chemical properties of metals, right? Chemical properties of metals. First property is they form cations or positive ions by losing electrons, right? Liyanepa ahagarna. Mokada make it term. They form cations or positive ions by losing electrons, right? So in our metals, let's take lithium. If you take lithium, what lithium does is lithium karane aage ek electron ekak galawano, right? Lithium will remove one electron and form lithium plus. Ek electron ekak galawala lithium plus hadana. Then if you take magnesium, what magnesium does is magnesium removes 2 electrons. Magnesium 2 electrons galawano. Ettakote yaarge negative charges dekak adu wenawane. So magnesium gets 2 plus. Then if you take aluminium, aluminium will remove 3 electrons. So 3 of its negative charges will be removed. So it gets 3 plus. Likewise, all the metals, they remove electrons or they lose electrons and they form cations or positive ions, right? So these ions, we call them, ions we call them cations. We call them cations or we call them positive ions. Positive ions වලට කියන නමක් තමයි cations කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? So that is the first chemical property of metals, right? First chemical property of metals. Then another chemical property is that they combine with oxygen to form basic oxides, right? So menna me kotasa just right? I will not explain anything at the moment because in the future I'm going to explain karanna, right? Because we need to know how this combines with oxygen and all of that. So I will explain it later, right? And then when these oxides dissolve in water, basic solutions are formed, right? Again, simply, because I will explain this in the future, simply ඕනම metal එකක් oxygen එක්ක එකතු වෙලා oxides හදනවා, right? So metal plus oxygen forms a metal oxide, right? Forms a metal oxide. So this metal oxide කියන එක්කෙනාව water වල අපි dissolve කරාම එයා basic solution එකක් හදනවා. Now at this point you don't know what basic means, right? It's just a feature of this solution. කියන්නේ මේ solution එකේ feature එකක් තමයි basic කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? So at this point you don't need to know exactly what basic means. Basic කියන එක හරියටම තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Just remember metals oxygen එක react කරලා metal oxides හදනවා. These metal oxides when they dissolve in water, solutions are formed. Those solutions are basic. Basic කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ property එකක්. Just remember it like that for the moment, right? Okay, quickly write this. What I have written pink and red also draw. I mean, write. Quickly write, Lamai. Done?
No, teacher.
Okay, quickly. Lasas, Seneth, Chenuli, still writing? Onara?
Done.
Others? Chenuli done?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, others fast, huh? Amma still writing?
Wait a minute, teacher.
Okay.
Done, teacher.
Done, teacher.
Right, okay. So now we were talking about metals. The metals are metals. You will understand metals more when you also learn non-metals, right? Then yachting, up example kila dala, we are going to be talking about, there are so many examples, right? Even in our periodic table, we said what? Lithium, beryllium, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, potassium, calcium, they are all all metals, right? So we are going to be talking about a few metals specifically, right? Api metals are the sodium and magnesium gana. We are going to talk about examples, right? So first we will be learning about sodium, right? So now when it comes to sodium, the sodium has many interesting properties, right? Mata kiyana balana lamai, to which I will tell name. Mayumdi, to which group does sodium belong? To which group in the periodic table?
First group.
Okay, Mayumdi says first group. Ashwita?
First, no. Second group.
Amma?
Sixth group.
Sixth group.
Groups are what goes down like this. There are 8 groups in the periodic table.
Sixth group.
So where is sodium? Sodium in it's the first group. Sodium is here, Na is sodium, it's the first group. So sodium is a metal in the first group of the periodic table. In to which period does sodium belong? Tenuli?
Third period.
Okay, Tenuli?
Third period.
Okay, one more, Lasas. To which period does sodium belong?
Third.
Correct. Periods are what goes like this, right? So of course sodium belongs to the third period, right? So you should not be confused by this point. So periods and groups then confuse karaganne. Okay. So now when it comes to sodium, now sodium is very highly reactive, right? Oya sodium kalak nikang eliya tiyala tibba, it will quick react. Niya කාත් එක්ක ඕගලන් කල්පනා කරලා කාත් එක්කද react කරන්න කියලා. ඔයා sodium kalak eliya tiyala තිබ්බොත් it will react with even the oxygen in the atmosphere. Or in the atmosphere there's water vapor, you know that, right? So this sodium will even react with the water vapor. මේ අහුවෙන දැන් atmosphere එකේ nitrogen තියෙනවා, nitrogen එකත් react කරනවා. So sodium is highly reactive, it will react with anything. ඒකින් අපි ඇත්තටම sodium නිකන් store කරන්නේ නැහැ. අපි මේම oil එකක දාලා bottle එක seal කරලා oil එක දාලා තමයි අපි sodium store කරන්නේ, because it's very highly reactive, right? It will react with anything and everything, right? Then another thing about sodium is that sodium reactivity වැඩි හින්දා, because it reacts with everything, no? So ඔයාට sodium, pure sodium විදියට nature එකේ හොයාගන්න බෑ. You can't find sodium in its pure state in the nature. ඇයි? එයා pure. Sorry?
Why?
Because sodium is very highly reactive. එයා අහුවෙනවනේ හැමෝත් එකම react කරනවානේ. දැන් හිතන්න sodium oxygen එක react කරාම NaO කියලා compound එකක් හදනවා. Right? Sodium chlorine කියන gas එකත් එක්ක react කරාම NaCl කියලා compound එකක් හදනවා. Sodium water at එක්ක react කරාම NaOH කියලා compound එකක් හදනවා. Right? Then if sodium reacts with nitrogen, it will form a compound like this. Likewise, it reacts with everything and forms compounds. Right? එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඔයාට sodium pure state එකෙන් හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්ද? Would you be able to? No, right? Do you understand that? Because it reacts with everything. එයා highly reactive නේ, හැමෝත් එකම react කරනවා. එතකොට යාව pure state එකෙන් ඔයාට you can't find it, because it's always in some compound, because it's very highly reactive, right? Then we have to talk. So I told you it's very highly reactive, so we store it in an oil, no? So අපි usually මෙයාව store කරන්නේ kerosene. What is kerosene in Sinhala ළමයි? මොකද ලසස්?
ලාම්පු තෙල්.
ලාම්පු තෙල් කියන්නේ භූමි තෙල්. Correct. Kerosene කියන්නේ භූමි තෙල්. එහෙම නැත්නම් there's another oil that we use for this. We use something called the paraffin oil. Paraffin කියලා oil જાතියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ oil එක දාලා තමයි අපි sodium store කරන්නේ. හිතන්න අපි නිකන් sodium කැලක් එළිය තිබ්බ කියලා. I told you it will react with oxygen in the atmosphere, chlorine in the atmosphere, nitrogen in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It will react with everything. එහෙම නැතු මම sodium කැලක් වතුරේ දාලා තිබ්බ කියන්න. Then it will even react with the water. Yes, Dinuki. So we want to stop sodium from coming into contact with the air as well as water and everything else. ඒකින්ද අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? sodium ව oil එකක දාලා අපි seal කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Because the one thing about sodium is that it will not react with kerosene or paraffin oil. Sodium oil එක react කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකින්ද තමයි අපි oil එකක දාලා තියන්නේ. Otherwise අපිට sodium කැල හොයාගන්න බැරි වෙයි, because it's so reactive, right? So again we can talk about physical properties and chemical properties of sodium, right? අපි පොඩ්ඩක් ලියමු ළමයි. අපි ලියලියම එක කරමු, then it's easier, because I want to show you some pictures, some videos and all of that. So sodium කියලා දාලා put a star and write. මම board එකේ ලියන්නේ ඔයගන්ට connection issues ආවොත් එහෙම මම කියන එක ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැනේ, but that doesn't mean you can take too long. Quickly write. So sodium belongs to group 1 and third period in the periodic table. It is highly reactive, so we
We write it.
yes, write it. Okay, Lamai.
Or teacher.
Alasas, you need more time.
A little bit, teacher.
Okay, quickly.
Finish, teacher.
Okay. Ama Mayumdi Seneth, still writing or done? Onara?
Done, teacher.
Okay.
Finish, teacher.
Okay. Mayumdi?
Finish, miss.
Okay. Lasas, are you done now? Need more time? Still
Done, teacher, done. Okay.
okay. So, sodium vela, we are going to be talking about physical properties. I will show you a small video. Right? I will show you a small video, but before that, we'll discuss. That's easier, right? So, when it comes to physical properties, now usually sodium is unique this way. Samaning metal is very hard, no? So, you take the metal that you come across most often is iron or aluminium, right? Aluminium kere metal you have at your home, right? Or iron also is there. So when you consider iron or aluminium, what you have noticed is that they're pretty hard. Some are hard, they're high. But when it comes, so usually metals are quite hard. But only sodium is kind of unique because it is a very soft metal. It is a soft metal, right? So it can easily be cut with a knife. අපිට knife එකකින් ලේසියෙන් කපන්න පුළුවන්. Can you cut iron like that with a knife? Can you cut? No.
Oh.
Yes, because iron is too hard. Even aluminium you can't cut with a knife. You probably have aluminium vessels at home, no? Aluminium භාජන තියෙනවනේ. ඔයාලා knife එකෙන් කපන්න බෑ. But sodium, it can be cut with a knife. I will show you a video. And another thing is that I told you usually metals have high density. Metals are density වැඩි, right? But when it comes to sodium, sodium has a density lower than water. Water වලට වඩා අඩු density එකක් තියෙන්නේ, so it floats on water. Floats on water because it has a lower density than water, right? Then another thing about sodium is that lamai, just like any anit properties, let's say conductor of heat and electricity, malleable ductile evanam make it a sodium වලට බැහැ, because sodium you can't really hammer because it's too soft. But of course sodium, just like other metals, sodium it is a good conductor of heat and electricity. Generally don't write anything. Okay, so it is a good conductor of heat and electricity. Let me show you a video. Let me see if I can. So I will show you a video. This is actually not in my video. 1 second. Let me share this. Oh no, 1 second. I have to share the sound also. Share. මට මේකේ sound එක නම් share කරන්න බෑ, but මම unmute කරන් ඉන්නම්, එතකොට ගන්න sound එක ඇහෙනවා.
I want to study it.
1 second. Y'all can see, right?
We'll go down the column on the periodic table in group 1 and look at sodium.
So here what sodium is actually here stored in paraffin, right? Paraffin oil hari kerosene hari wala thamai store karanne. Usually in most of the labs we use paraffin to store sodium. මේ sodium කැලේ තියෙන inside paraffin, right?
Like the lithium, the sodium is stored in mineral oil to minimize reaction with the oxygen in the air. If we remove a piece of sodium metal, we notice that it's also coated over with an oxide coating. Group 1 metals become softer as you go down the column. The sodium is much easier to cut than.
So can you all see that it can easily be cut with a knife? Taggala knife එකෙන් කැපෙනවා, right? Because it's soft.
The lithium. As we cut off the oxide layer, we can see the shiny metal underneath. It coats over very rapidly with a layer of oxide. The sodium.
Another thing is lamai, when you take sodium, sodium එළියට ගත්ත ගමන්ම දැන් they cut no. So when you cut inside, there's a shiny surface because metals have a luster. Sodium also have the shine, but the shine goes away very quickly. Shine එක ටක් ගාලා යනවා because sodium will react with oxygen in the air. Sodium මේ air වල තියෙන oxygen එක react කරලා ටක් ගාලා shine එක යනවා, right? So if you take a piece of sodium like this, මේ වටේම shine එක යනවා ටක් ගාලා. And then when you cut, actually open when a surface එක again is shiny. But again the shine will go really soon. It will become dull because sodium will react with the oxygen in the air. Okay. Then now what they're doing is they're going to see if this conducts electricity.
Sodium is a metal and is an excellent conductor of electricity. If we take a piece of the sodium.
Now watch this carefully lamai. We are going to put a piece of sodium into water. දැන් හොඳට බලන්න මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා.
Metal and add it to water. We notice a much more rapid reaction with the water. Like lithium, the sodium is less dense than water and floats. The metal moves across the surface being pushed by the hydrogen gas that is produced. As you go down the column with group 1 metals, the melting point of the metal decreases. The reaction is very exothermic, which causes the sodium metal to melt. The metal...
Okay, that's all you need to watch. Mama, a sodium එක water වලට දාන reaction දාන එක පොඩ්ඩක් ආයෙ පෙන්නන්න ඔයගලන්ට. Watch it one more time.
and add it to water, we notice a much more rapid reaction with the water.
So when you put a piece of sodium into water, it will react really fast. It can move when if you were present here, you can actually hear a sound. His sound, right? His sound, and it will move around really fast. That means the reaction is happening, right?
Like lithium, the sodium is less dense in water and floats.
So the entire piece of sodium will be dissolved. Okay. So that is what I wanted to show you about sodium. We go back to our whiteboard. Okay. So so it's a soft metal, so it can be easily cut with a knife. You saw that in the video, right? Then you also saw that it floats on water. Water will float, and they also checked whether it's a good conductor of electricity, and it did conduct electricity, right? Then we are going to talk about chemical properties of sodium. Chemical properties of sodium, right? So what happens is that, as I told you earlier, sodium kallak, as soon as you take it out of the paraffin hari kerosene wala hari ne store karanne, as soon as you take it out, it will react with the oxygen in the atmosphere. React kalla yaga shine naga nathi wenawa, right? So sodium don't write anything, sodium reacts fast with oxygen in the air and form oxide, right? Oxide එක හදන. Oxide එක කියන්නේ, if any metal reacts with oxygen, what is being formed is an oxide. ඕනම metal එකක් oxygen එක react කරාම oxide එකක් තමයි හදන්නේ, right? So it forms an oxide. That is why as soon as we take sodium out in the air, it loses the luster, only because it reacts with oxygen in the air, right? Then another chemical property of sodium is that it reacts very fast with the water. Water react karana. It reacts fast, or we say vigorously. Vigorously means ekat ikbanta kene fast react kara kiyane. Vigorously with water and forms sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. So all of these, you don't worry about it too much. Mama sodium hydroxide can api israhata kata karanawa. Hydrogen is just a gas, right? So when sodium reacts with water, it reacts vigorously. That means tag gala react karna, and it will form sodium hydroxide. Don't worry, we'll talk about it later. And hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is a gas in the atmosphere, right? Then another chemical property of sodium is that it reacts with dilute acids. Have you all heard about acids, Ramai? Kohedi acids kiyana wachane, have you all heard about it?
Yes.
Yes. So acids are actually in your lab also. I'm sure in your school, I don't know whether you have visited the lab. Lab ekේ තියෙනවා බෝතල් වල දාලා acids, right? So acids are actually a bit like a strong liquid. Hari strong a liquid එක. And it has, like, let's say ඔයා නිකන් සැර acid එකක් ඔයාගේ අතට වැටුණා කියලා, your hand will get injured, right? So there will be a blister on your hand. සමහරට මේ අත මේව කරගෙන තුවාල වෙන්න පුළුවන් හොඳටම, right? When an acid falls onto your hand. So a dilute acid means an acid that, like, you have mixed the acid with water, right? කොහොම හරි sodium also react with dilute acids. Any acid, it react with any acid, right? So these are the chemical properties of sodium. Did you all understand up to this point? Tenuli and Ashwita?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, Mayumdi, Chenuli?
Teacher, like more than the acid, normal acid, like the diluted acid is a less power, like
Yeah,
less power.
it has a less power, yes. So that means it won't be as strong. Samalar dilute acid da kota allana pulam because the acid chutta karagena vaturalla diya karala tiyane dilute acids, right? So now for this point you don't need to know that much. If I remember right, in grade 11 you have a different lesson for acids and bases. Did you understand up to that point, Ashwita?
Yes, teacher.
All right, Mayumdi and Chenuli?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, Senet Lasas?
Teacher.
Senet? Dinuki?
Yes, teacher.
Onara and Ama?
Yes, teacher. Yes, teacher.
Right, okay. So then we will start writing this. Taggalian baname. I will give you a few minutes. Please don't take too long. Taggala lianna. Ogalan monk you want to practice karana to write fast but neat letters. Your handwriting doesn't have to be like lassan handwriting neve vendone. Neat handwriting. As long as it's readable, it's good enough. Just practice to write it fast. Ikmat liana practice karana. Okay, quickly.
Teacher, done.
Metric manta?
I now only started writing, really.
You just started writing. Okay, so you're done writing.
Yes. In the school, like we write faster, they read and go, my teacher.
Yes, yes, yes. Sure. Okay, others also let me know when you're done. Let me know when you're done. Quickly write.
Done, teacher.
Okay, who needs more time, Lamai? Mayumdi done, Shenuli done, Tenuli done, no?
Yes.
Onara?
Done, teacher.
Seneth? Okay. So finally we need to know the uses of sodium. Mukata api sodium use karan, right? So most of these uses actually you will have to buy heart, right? Because you don't know most of these. So ekak thamai lamai. Now you know gold and silver. Gold and silver are usually found in the ground. Saman api gold em extract karane polave, right? So there are places called gold ores. Natapi nidhi kiyala kena in Sinhala. So we extract gold from there, right? So that means areas with a lot of gold, right? So when extracting metals, when extracting gold and silver specifically, අපි use කරනවා sodium cyanide. Sodium cyanide කියලා જાතියක් අපි use කරනවා. It's very highly toxic, right? So sodium cyanide හදන්න obviously we use sodium. Because the name itself says sodium cyanide. To produce sodium cyanide used to extract gold and silver, right? That is one of the uses of sodium. Then another use is that අපි use කරනවා something called sodium amalgam, right? So අපි ඒක use කරන අතරම organic chemistry වල, again these are completely out of your syllabus. What you need to know is there's something called sodium amalgam. Sodium amalgam කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක හදන්න අපි sodium use කරනවා. Knowing that is more than enough, right? To produce sodium amalgam, right? Then another one is there are metals called in the big periodic table there are metals called titanium and zirconium, right? Titanium, zirconium kila metals තියෙනවා. So let me share the textbook actually. That's easier because I'm just reading out what's on the textbook, right? So these are the users of sodium. So what I said earlier, to make sodium cyanide used to extract gold and silver. Make sodium amalgam, which is used as a reducing agent in organic chemistry. So you don't know what any of this means. මේ මොනවාද කියලා ඔයගලන් දන්නේ නැහැ, right? So don't worry about it. Just remember it's used to make sodium amalgam, right? Then there are metals called titanium and zirconium, right? So titanium and zirconium කියන metals extract කරගන්න. So usually they are in compounds. Sodium වගේ ඒගොල්ලොනුත් reactive, so they are usually in compounds. Compound එකක් කියන්නේ මේ metals තව කාත් එක්ක හරි react කරලා ඉන්නේ. So ඒකෙන් ඔයාට pure metal එක extract කරගන්න පුළුවන් sodium use කරලා. So that is another use. Then another one is we always wear denims, no? So denim wala they are using an indigo dye. Indigo dye එකක් use කරනවා to color the denim material. So that dye is produced using sodium. Then another one is that you may have seen this දැන් නම් තියෙන street lamps වල ඇත්තටම තියෙන sodium නෙවෙයි. But have you all seen movies වල එහෙම තියෙන අර yellow glow එකක් තියෙන street lamps? In some streets also there might be. Because අපේ ගෙදර නම් උඩ තියෙනවා no, not that. But there are street lamps with a yellow glow. Yellow glow එකක් තියෙන street lamps ඔයගලන් photos වල හරි දැකලා ඇති. So in these street lamps they use sodium to get the yellow color glow, right?
They say some highways they have.
Highways වල තියෙන අර LED වගේ එකනේ.
No, like that big like big steel rod comes and there is a orange color like
Right. It could be probably sodium, right? එහෙම නැත්තම් yellow color bulb එක වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, but it could be sodium as well. Good. So I will not give you time to write the uses of sodium right now. So write a question. Question එකක් ලියා ගන්න ළමයි. So I told you today actually we have a lot of theory. ගොඩාක් අපිට තියෙන්නේ අද theory. Because we need to learn about all of these. So question එකක් අපි ලියා ගමු without writing uses. Q කියලා question එකක් ලියන්න. Write the uses of sodium metal. Write the uses of sodium metal. Leave about 5, 6, 7 lines වගේ තියලා put the topic magnesium. So my කලින් batch එකේ නම් මේ කොටසට විතරක් printed note එකක් දුන්නා, but I lost so many of my notes, so I couldn't prepare a specific note for this part. Yes, did somebody say something?
What? Yes, teacher. What about the unit 1 note?
Unit 1 I will send. Make you not pass up unit 1 එක කරමු. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So magnesium के topic එක දාගන්න rule 7ක් විතර තියලා magnesium के topic එක දාගන්න. So now when you consider magnesium, magnesium is also a metal that we know, right? Because in our periodic table, magnesium is a metal. So it's a metal that we know very well, right? So when it comes to magnesium, magnesium is also reactive. Yes, it's quite reactive, but sodium tarang reactive na. Sodium maram reactive, I told you it's very highly reactive. It reacts with everything and anything, right? But magnesium is not as reactive as sodium, but it's also quite reactive, right? And also magnesium samanan in a roll up with it. So on your textbook also there's a picture on page 68. At the very top there's a picture of magnesium that comes as a roll, right? Yes.
Patients, could we touch sodium in hand like without wearing gloves?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it won't cause any like lethal harm or anything. Yes, of course you can touch it, no problem. No problem කියන්න බෑ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි අල්ලන්නේ නැහැ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි tongs use කළා. Tongs කියලා මේ like eyebrow pluck කරනවා වගේ tongs දෙකක් තියෙනවා. So that's something that we use to hold it. So we usually don't hold it, but there's no lethal harm, right? But some metals, like for an example, if you take mercury වගේ you shouldn't touch, right? Because it's carcinogenic, cancer causing. So a thermometers, I told you mercury is a metal, but it's a liquid, right? So hamoma cameras off karagenne. I would prefer if okay, thank you Ashwita. I would prefer if some of you all keep your camera switched on. Okay, thank you. Okay, so have you all tried this? Tried this, have you all experienced this? ඔයගලන් ගෙදර හරි කොහරි thermometer එකක් කැඩිලා තියෙනවද?
Yes.
Teacher.
එතකොට අර නිකන් like what do you call them? නිකන් droplets වගේ නේද තියෙන්නේ? What's inside? So that is actually mercury. I have also touched mercury once or twice, but touching mercury is really bad. It causes skin cancer. It's carcinogenic. So certain metals, of course, you can't touch, but no like major damage in touching sodium. Usually අපි touch කරන්නේ නැහැ හැබැයි. So magnesium ගත්තොත් අර roll වගේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ, right? So if you take a piece of magnesium, magnesium also is kind of reactive, no? So magnesium has a shine. Magnesium plus shine එකක් තියෙනවා because it's a metal. It's a metal, so it has a luster. But now magnesium also reacts with the oxygen in the atmosphere. එයාව atmosphere එකේ මෙහෙම නිකන් sodium magnesium කැල තියලා තියෙද්දි it reacts with the oxygen in the air. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? luster එක නැති වෙනවා. නැති වෙලා it becomes very dull. නිකන් dark color එකක් වගේ එනවා. නැත්තම් magnesium කියන හරිය silvery color එකක් තියෙන එකක්. But when it is exposed to oxygen and it reacts with oxygen, it becomes very dull color, right? එතකොට අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? දැන් මැග්නීසියම් නම් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි පැරාෆින් වල කොහෙවත් දාලා තියන්නේ we just keep it. ඔය රෝලර් ඔය විදිහටම තියෙනවා ලැබ් එකේ. ඒතර හැම වෙලේම ඔක්සිජන් එක contact වෙනවනේ. So එතකොට හැම වෙලේම dull වල තියෙන්නේ. So when I want to use a piece of magnesium for any reaction, මම මොකද කරන්නේ? අර රෝලෙන් magnesium කැලක් කපා ගන්නවා. Right? So now this magnesium is dull. It doesn't have a shine. Then what I do is I take a sandpaper and I clean it from a sandpaper. Sandpaper එකකින් හොඳට clean කරනවා. So sandpaper එකකින් clean කරාම මොකද වෙන්නේ? අර oxygen එක react කරලා layer එකක් හදලානේ තියෙන්නේ. That became dull. So that layer I can scratch it off. එතකොට මට ආයමත් pure magnesium කැල්ල එනවා. Which has a silvery shine. Is it clear ළමයි? Okay. Then අපි no before we write we'll discuss everything and then we'll write. Okay, so what did we talk about so far? අපි කිව්වා magnesium ගේ group එකයි period එකයි කියන්න ළමයි මට.
Group 2
period
1 2.
Yes, group 2 period 3. I got the answer in the chat box. Yes, correct. So by now you shouldn't be flipping the pages, huh? You should be able to remember. Then with the periodic table කටපාඩම් වෙලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? So next week I will check camera on කරන්න කියලා මම උගලන්ට periodic table එක කියන්න කියලා කියනවා. So you should be able to read out the periodic table without looking at the book. Okay, ආයෙත් camera on කරන්න බෑ. camera වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කතා බෑ. Okay. So then we'll talk about the physical properties of magnesium, right? Physical properties of magnesium. So now this is your textbook. Huh? So physical properties, it's a good conductor of heat and electricity. So I told you any metal is a good conductor of heat and electricity. Just like that, magnesium is also a good conductor of heat and electricity. Now if you remember, we said sodium floats on water. Why? Because it has a lower density than water. But magnesium has a higher density than water. ඒ කියන්නේ ආ water වල float වෙන්නේ නැහැ. It sinks because it has a higher density, right? Then when we talk about chemical properties, when heated in air, that means our magnesium කැල්ලක් අරගෙන ආ flame එකට අල්ලනවා, right? You hold a piece of magnesium to flame. එතකොට ඔයාලට පේනවා it burns with a very bright white color flame. Right? මාර bright white flame එකකින් තමයි ආ burn වෙන්නේ. When you hold a piece of magnesium to a flame. Right? Then another thing is that magnesium cold water එක react කරන්නේ නැහැ. So let's say you put a piece of magnesium into cold water, it will not react. But if you put a piece of magnesium to hot water, it will react. And then if you make magnesium react with steam කියන්නේ water වල gas form එකනේ, right? It will again react, right? Then also magnesium will react with dilute acids. So let me show you a video. Burning of magnesium in air. Because I want to show you that the bright flame.
By drawing daily.
So if you're interested, actually everything is on YouTube, right? Ogana search කරන විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. අන්තික දැන් ලොකු videos බලන්න ඕනේ. There are so many shots. So I'm sure you're familiar.
Burning of magnesium in air. It is in a color or formation of a precipitate. Some examples of chemical changes are burning of action of burning magnesium. Cut a piece of magnesium ribbon.
Not this one. We can't see the video.
Magnesium burns an oxygen to give a bright white light. Let's see what pure oxygen does.
One second, Lamai. Let me find the
Magnesium burns. Magnesium burns an oxygen.
Okay.
Group 2 metals also react rapidly with oxygen in the air when they're heated. Magnesium is flammable.
Can you all see this, Lamai? Bana magnesium එක flame එකට ඇලුවාම can you see the bright white flame? So now this is the candle flame, right? මේ අල්ලන්නේ magnesium ribbon එක. කියන්නේ magnesium කැලක්, right?
When they're heated.
See? It's a very bright white flame. Okay? So when magnesium reacts when magnesium is held into flame, it will form a bright white flame. That is what I said here, right? Then again, magnesium doesn't react with cold water, it reacts with hot water, and it also reacts with steam. Okay. Then uses of magnesium, අපි ටටගා discuss කරන් යමු. So when you mix magnesium and aluminium, අපිට හැදෙනවලු alloy එකක්. Alloy එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ ළමයි, when you mix two or more metals together, අපිට හැදෙන එකට අපි කියනවා alloy කියලා, right? For an example, sometimes zinc කියලා metal එකක් තියෙනවා, copper කියලා metal එකක් තියෙනවා, අපි ඒවා mix කරලා හදනවා. ඒ වගේ එක එක metals mix කරලා we form alloys. So here we are mixing magnesium and aluminium. The alloy that is formed is called magnesium, right? Magnesium, and මෙයා අපි use කරනවා in aircraft industry and also to make parts in automobiles. Why? සාමාන්‍ය magnesium ගත්තොත් එහෙම it could, I mean, metals they usually rust, no? මලකඩ කනවනේ metals. Iron විතරක් නෙවෙයි, ඕනිම metal එකක් මලකඩ කනවා. It is subjected to rusting, or we say corrosion, right? So let's say you are using a metal in an aircraft. Okay, plane එකක ඔයා metal එකක් use කරනවා. And what if it gets corroded? Plane එක use කරපු metal එකක් මලකඩ කෑවොත් it's a huge problem, right? Because an aircraft is something like a vehicle that is very risky, right? So you have to be very careful when designing an aircraft. So they have to make sure that the metal is not subjected to corrosion. Corrode වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපි sure කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට අපි use කරනවා මේ magnesium කියන alloy එක, because that alloy doesn't get corroded. ඒත් ඒක හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ magnesium and aluminium ගෙන්. Then also, if you all have gastritis, right? Gastritis තියනවා කියන්නේ බඩේ gas තියනවා, gas as in acid තියනවා කියන එක. So gastritis. So when you have gastritis, usually they give you, the doctor prescribes you milk of magnesia, right? Milk of magnesia කියලා product එකක් තියෙනවා, එක එක brands වලින් එනවා එක. So that is prescribed if you have gastritis. So that is made up of magnesium, right? Then another one is used as a metal that prevents corrosion of iron, right? So සාමාන්‍යයෙන් as we know යකඩ is iron, යකඩ මලකඩ කනවා, ලේසියෙම මලකඩ කනවා. So if you take let's say an iron nail, if we take an iron nail, this gets corroded really easily. එතකොට අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? මෙයා මලකඩ කන එක නවත්තන්න we can apply a layer of magnesium around it. Or we can keep a small piece of magnesium near the iron nail. එතකොට iron nail එක rust වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? So these are some uses of magnesium. Before we write, do you have any questions? Shenuli, Amma, do you understand?
Yes, teacher.
Ashwita?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
And Thenuli, Mayumdi? Mayumdi?
Yes, miss.
Okay, Seneth? Lasas? Dinuki? Onara?
Yes, teacher.
Right, okay. So we will quickly write. අපි පුලන්තර short and sweet ලියමු. So magnesium is a light means it's not very heavy, light reactive metal. Magnesium ribbon. Magnesium loses its luster when exposed to. Make ලියන්න ළමයි, what I'm writing on the board.
Teacher can't see the board.
I can't see the board.
Okay. I've shared the textbook. Can you all see it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Teacher, after the physical properties, we can't see anything. Now can.
All these chemical names like magnesium oxide, magnesium hydroxide, all of that, don't worry, because we are going to be learning what they mean, right? Because we need to know some other chemistry paths. So once we discuss that, I will come to those chemical names. Okay, quickly write this.
Finish, teacher.
Others also let me know when you're done. Can you give me 2 minutes? Then I'll quickly be back. Am I done?
Done me.
Who needs more time? Shall we move on? Okay. Put a question. Write the uses of magnesium. Write the uses of magnesium. Now you write the uses alone. Nah? What we have discussed, you write it alone. Put the question and leave about 4 or 5 lines. Quickly. So let's quickly finish at least this part. Because I have to finish the class about 10 minutes early today. But don't worry, Mama Ilanga Satiye, I will 10 or 15 minutes early. මට සමහර 9 කාල වගේ වෙද්දි ක්ලාස් එක ඉවර කරන්න වෙයි. But if it comes to that, the extra 15 minutes that I will not be doing today, I will do it next week. We'll catch up. එතකොට next week අපි 9:45 වෙනකම් කරමු. We'll see, I'm not sure. Okay, ළමයි. Done? තෙනුලි සෙනෙත්?
Done.
හරි කම්මැලි කමෙනේ ඉන්නේ. I want to see some face. Okay. Others? Okay, Lassa's finally is here. So you are definitely capable of switching on the camera. You have strange wallpaper, but බලන්න camera එක on කරන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙද්දි on කරන්නේ නැහැ නේ Lassas. Okay. So I'll put the next topic, non-metals. So metals will we are only going to be talking about 2 examples, right? Then we will talk about non-metals. Non-metals. In non-metals also we will be talking about 3 examples. Lian ba non-metals කියලා.
Okay, teacher.
Okay. So now, just like how we discussed the features of metals, we are also going to be talking about non-metals, right? So naturally, when they call a set of elements as metals and then another set of elements as non-metals, it's very clear metals were the opposite features tamai non-metals wala thiyen, right? So non-metals have features that are opposite to metals. Okay. So let me. So one thing is that now I told you sodium and magnesium are quite reactive, right? So we can't find them in the pure state in the nature. When it comes to non-metals, now metals වලත් සමහර metals තියෙනවා ඔයගන්ට pure state එකෙන් හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. For an example, iron, copper, iron bag, copper වගේ ඒවා ඔයාලට pure state එකෙන් හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. So in non-metals also, some non-metals are found in compounds and others are found in the pure state. මොනවද ලියන්න එපා ළමයි. Others are found as native elements. Native elements means they are found in the pure state. Okay. Then another feature of non-metals is that now we talked about metals. When we talked about metals, we said that metals are solids at room temperature. Okay. හැබැයි අපි කිව්වා එකම එක metal එකක් ඇරෙන්න. What is that metal? Generally, what is that metal?
Mercury.
Mercury. Mercury is a liquid, but except for mercury, all the other metals are solids. But when it comes to non-metals,
It is talking.
am I getting stuck? Anita is stuck with the channel.
No, teacher.
Ashita, maybe there's a maybe there's a small signal issue from your end. If possible, maybe change. Now, okay. When that happens, product tana maru kala ban. Sometimes it could be my issue as well because sometimes I also have Wi-Fi problems. So a thing is that ape gather langama thiyena ara high tension wire ka. So sometimes I also have signal losses. So let me know when that happens. So there are non-metals. There are non-metals that are solids, liquids, and also gases at room temperature. States තුනම ඔයාට non-metals ආගේ ඉන්නවා, right? So for an example, if you take solids, right? Carbon is a non-metal that is a solid at room temperature, right? අපි මේ carbon ගැන පස්සේ කතා කරමු. Then sulfur is another non-metal at room temperature. Phosphorus. These are all solids at room temperature. Okay. Then some non-metals are liquids at room temperature. An example is bromine. Hey, bromine කියන එක කෙනා ළමයි අපේ first 20 elements වල නැහැ, right? So we are only learning about the first 20 elements, you know. So within the first 20 elements, bromine is not there, right? But in the bigger periodic table, bromine is there. It's a non-metal and it's a liquid at room temperature. Then certain non-metals are gases at room temperature. For an example, if you take oxygen, something that we know very well, right? Then nitrogen, chlorine, fluorine. These are all gases at room temperature. So unnamed non-metals are a feature, right? There are solid, there are liquids, and there are gases at room temperature. Okay. Then, do you think non-metals have a luster? So for an example, oxygen. Oxygen is something we can't even see, no? So we can't even talk about luster because අපිට පේන්නවත් නැහැ නැස් දෙකට. Carbon වලට example එකක් මට කියන්න පුළුවන් ඔයගලන්ට charcoal. Coal, charcoal, anguru and gal anguru. Okay, charcoal is anguru and coal is gal anguru. Lasas, are you listening? Lasas, are you listening? Okay. So when you take coal or charcoal, anguru dakla tiyane, do they have a luster? No. So just like that, non-metals generally don't have a luster. Generally, they do not have a luster. Also, metals conduct heat and electricity, but non-metals generally do not conduct heat and electricity, right? That is another feature of non-metals, right? Then we said metals are malleable and ductile. Malleable we can hammer them and make them into sheets. Ductile means we can make wires from them. But non-metals, we can't do that, right? So they are not malleable nor ductile, right? They are actually brittle. Brittle කියන්නේ or hammer එකකින් ගැහුවොත් එයා ටක් ගාලා කුඩු වෙනවා. තැලෙනවා නෙවෙයි කුඩු වෙනවා. Glass බිඳෙන්නේ ඒ වගේ. Brittle means that, right? Then also another thing is that generally non-metals have a low density. So these are generally the features of non-metals. Now here what I have written here is that, okay, generally do not conduct heat and electricity, right? And also generally non-metals have a low density. ඒ කියන්නේ normally එහෙමයි, හැබැයි exceptions තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so we will talk about those exceptions later. So now these are the features of non-metals. Now if we talk about the chemical properties, right? If we talk about the chemical properties, so these are actually the physical properties, physical properties. Now if we talk about the chemical properties of non-metals, they form negative ions, or we call them anions, by accepting electrons. What this means is that, so as we know, oxygen is a non-metal, right? Up in non-metal section again oxygen nande. So if you take oxygen මොකද කරන්නේ? Yes, Ashika.
Could you again tell what does bromine means in liquid?
Yes, bromine is a non-metal that is not in the first 20 elements. So අපේ චූටි periodic table එකේ ඉන්නේ elements 20යිනේ. So in that periodic table bromine is not there, right? But in the bigger periodic table with more than 100 elements, in the bigger periodic table bromine is there. So bromine is an element and it's a non-metal, right? So it's in the bigger periodic table. Okay.
Yeah, teacher. Thank you, teacher.
So non-metals, they form negative ions or anions. What this means is that then sodium. Sodium is a metal, no? What sodium does is sodium removes an electron and forms a positive ion. Yeah, electron කැඩෙනවා. Positive ion එකකට electron එකකට. That means it removes an electron and forms a cation. But when it comes to non-metals, they take electrons. ඒගොල්ලන් electrons වලට කැමති. ඒගොල්ලන් electrons වලට කැමති. So අපි ගත්තොත් oxygen usually electrons දෙකක් ගන්නවා. So electrons දෙකක් ගන්නවා කියන්නේ යාට extra minus දෙකක් හම්බෙනවා නේද? Because electrons are minus, no? So oxygen ට extra electrons දෙකක් හම්බෙනවා. Minus දෙකක් හම්බෙනවා. So O2 minus. Then if you take chlorine is also non-metal. It usually takes one electron. And at extra electron carbon, it becomes chlorine minus. So these are called, මෙන්න මෙයාගේ negative හදනේවට අපි කියනවා, we call them anions. We call them anions. Is it clear, lamai? Okay. Then another thing about non-metals is that මෙන්න මේකනම් I will again, one of those things that I will have to explain later. They react with oxygen and form acidic oxides. When the oxides dissolve in water, acidic solutions are formed. What this means is that I told you earlier about acids, right? Acids ගැන මම කිව්වනේ. So සාමාන්‍යයෙන් if you take a non-metal can අපි හිතමු let's take carbon. We can take carbon, right? They react with oxygen. They react with, give me 1 second, Amai. Okay, I'm sorry, Lamai. So they react with oxygen. So let's take for an example carbon. carbon reacts with oxygen and forms carbon dioxide. මෙයා ඇවිල්ලා acidic. ඒ කියන්නේ acid එකක් වගේ. So right, so the thing is you have not learned about acids yet. So that's what I said. These are things that you will learn in the future, right? Just remember මෙන්න මේ වගේ carbon dioxide වගේ එකට අපි කියනවා acid එකක් කියලා because it's acidic, right? When you dissolve carbon dioxide in water, you get an acidic solution. Acidic solution. So I told you about acids, no? One product QA acids they are kind of strong solutions. They are a bit strong solutions, right? So just like that, when a non-metal reacts with oxygen, it will form an oxide that has an acidic property, right? When that oxide is dissolved in water, it will form acidic solutions. Did you understand this?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, Chenuli?
All the oxides are formed when any of the elements and oxygen is like mixed together, only oxide is formed, right?
Yes. When any element reacts with oxygen, only oxides are formed. So when non-metals react with oxygen, acidic oxides are formed.
Okay, teacher.
Okay. Any other questions? Mayumdi? Is it clear?
Yes, miss.
Okay. Amma? Seneth?
Yes, teacher.
Thenuli and Onara?
Yes.
All right. So can you all start writing this? I will give about 5 to 7 minutes. Quickly write. If you have any questions, ask. Either unmute or put it in the chat box.
Can you move it a little bit upward? Okay, teacher.
Lana, give me 1 minute. Huh?
Teacher, what are the words you have underlined and what are the words that you have write in that colors also we have to write, right?
What I have written in colors, right? Underline kar pe ona.
Okay, teacher.
Okay. Let me know when you're done, na? Done, Lamai? Lassa still writing or done?
Done.
Who wants more time, Lamai?
Teacher, I want.
Okay. I'll give you.
Teacher,
Yes, Ashita.
teacher finish.
All right. Chenuli done?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher. Done, teacher.
Seneth? Okay. So as I said, I will have to finish 15 minutes early because of a family situation. So next week ළමයි අපි class එක ඉවර කරන්නේ 9:45, right? So keep that in mind. ඒක ඔළුවේ තියාගෙන 9:45 වල class එක ඉවර කරන්න ලෑස්තිලා එන්න. And next week we will somehow finish this lesson, right? We are going to finish this lesson. So within the week I will send you the note of the first lesson, right? So චුට්ටක් අපි යමු අපේ lessons ටිකට. So next week we'll be finishing structure of matter. Next week means 1st of March, right? Then අපි ළඟට chemical basis of life, and then okay. All right. So now we have to speed up ළමයි. අපිට ඉක්මනට කරන් යන්න ඕනේ. Today there was a lot of theory, so that's why අපිට ටටක් ගාලා කියන්නේ we had a lot of writing to do, right? So because it was a lot of theory. So do you all have any questions or concerns or anything that you want to ask, or is everything okay? Ashwita?
No, teacher.
Chenuli?
No, teacher.
Lasas? Any questions?
No, teacher.
Okay, Seneth? Tenuli? Ama? Mayumdi?
No, teacher.
Then Dinuki and Onara?
No, teacher.
Chenuli?
No, teacher.
Right, okay. So that is all. එකක් තව එකක් තමයි ළමයි මම ඔයගලන්ට එව්වද motion on a straight line worksheet එක. අපි ඒක discuss කරානේ. So මේ lesson එකේ worksheet එකත් මම මේ සතියේම එවනවා. ඒතර මේ lesson එකේ දැනට කරපු ටිකෙන් ඔයගලන්ට worksheet එක කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so start doing the worksheet. I will send the worksheet and the unit 1 lesson note both. Right, so අපි ඉක්මනට කරන් යමු. When are your term tests?
On April.
In May.
Chenuli, Tenuli, Mayumdi?
I don't know, teacher.
Not yet, okay. Mayumdi?
April first week, miss.
April 1st week. Seneth, Onara? හැමෝටම ඒ කාලේ වගේ නේද set වෙන්නේ? Onara don't know yet. So ඒ කාලේ වගේ set වෙන්නේ, so don't worry, right? We have time to finish the syllabus, the first term syllabus, and also do questions, right? Because we have to do worksheets, as I said. Okay, so next week the class is from 7 to 9:45. My group එක දාන්න එක. Yes, that's all I have to say. Then we'll end the class. If any of you, I saw Onara getting disconnected a few times. So දිනුකිටත් මැදදී miss වුණා. So මම ඒ දිනට recording යවන්නම්. අනිත් අයත් එහෙම disconnect වුණා නම්, or if you had any connection issues, let me know. Okay? I'll send the recording. And also send me the note of today's class. Okay. Then see you next Saturday, lamai.
Goodbye, teacher.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.